Hey, hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Corvus Cornix, and welcome to Closet Movie Rambles, where I talk about all movies that I found in my closet while cleaning. This week's movie is Daywatch, and it's the prequel or sequel to the movie Nightwatch. And it's a little bit hard to explain these movies because they're really weird. But this movie is about 2 hours and 40 minutes long, and the movie starts with a summary of the first movie. There's this battle between good and evil, Nightwatch and the Daywatch. And they explain about the shock of fate, which is like a crayon that can change anyone's destiny. Yeah. So in order to stop this conflict between good and evil, they need to get the shock. So there's this big battle, and then cutting to Anton and Svetlana, the main two characters of this movie. So they're out on a case, and Svetlana chases at one of the bad guys, and it escapes into this place called the Gloom, which is like this place where the bad guys hide, basically. It's a really cool effect, and I talked about it in the previous ramble. So it turns out that this bad guy is actually Anton's son, also a vampire just like Anton. Excuse me. So Anton's son is actually with the main baddie now, because in the previous movie he actually chose sides. That's the part of the whole conflict between good and evil. If you turn into like one of the chosen one, you can actually choose which side you want to be on. So if that makes sense. So the main bad guy is actually doing tango, which is kind of weird, but this movie is very special. And then Svetlana and Anton goes out to drink because Anton more or less wants Svetlana to forget about it, because they will be interrogated by his boss later. So that's exactly what happened. So Anton talked to his boss, and apparently Svetlana leaves, and she's supposed to be one of the great ones that will turn the conflict for either good or bad. So what happens is Anton drinks himself silly, and he leaves the bar. And actually, it's kind of a funny scene because the innkeeper is actually the guardian of the shock, but he doesn't know this yet. So Anton goes out, wheel away home drunk, and this woman in a car pulls up, and he actually tells him that tomorrow will be your son's birthday. Which I was like, probably prophecy or something. Really weird. And then cut into a guy watching TV. I think he's watching a football game, and Anton actually cuts the power in order to get some evidence, the key to his storage basically, and some information about the upcoming events of the movie. So the woman that gave the information to Anton in the first place, she gets killed off. And there's an investigation about it, because the Nightwatch is very formal about that kind of stuff. There's like this feud between good and bad, as I said before. And then this other crazy car lady goes to the main bad guy. She defies all laws of physics. She drives the car on the side of the building and crashes into the building. And she informs the main bad guy about the death as well. So the main bad guy actually texts Anton, or basically text him saying, don't forget about your son's birthday, which is like, I don't get it. It's such a weird thing. Why would the main bad guy have his phone number or personal email or whatever, but whatever. So the main good guy has a meeting and decide what to do. And the car woman goes to talk to a young girl, which is supposedly the daughter of the woman that got killed, and informs her that she's dead, which is just mean to do. And then the car lady, I don't know her name, I forgot about it, but she goes to talk to a vampire, and basically the only reason is just to sniff out Anton, I guess, because vampires are good trackers if they have a smell in this universe, which makes total sense. So the main good guys decide it's a good idea for one of the, I guess she's like a mage or a magician called Olga. In the first movie she was like this owl, like a shapeshifter, for her to change body with Anton so they can continue whatever weird stuff they're doing because reasons. So Olga, in this case Anton, goes to pick up Sveta, and they end up in a ditch in the snow and everything, and then go to Sveta's place and then Anton actually explained that he is in the body of Olga and vice versa. And then there's an unnecessary shower scene, and I think they watch some football or whatever. But then the car lady goes to talk to the young vampire yet again. There's like this love tension between the two of them for some reason, I don't know. So Sveta and Anton in Olga's form goes to a dinner, and then a murder appears in the bathroom, or happens in the bathroom, and they get picked up by their boss, and they get stopped on the way by the main baddie, and they're about to take Anton in. And the main guy, baddie, gets hit by a bus because somehow Sveta has the power to turn buses into hitting people. This results in the supreme powers appearing, and apparently there's like a step above the good and bad called the supreme powers that I didn't even know about, and they're like these two twins that have superpowers that result in them actually wanting Anton because to pay for his crimes, because he was the one who initially was about to made this conflict like build up and whatnot, so they need to take him in for his crime. But Anton and Olga is not having that, so they manage to get on a plane, and mid-flight Anton realized that the only thing that can stop this is the shock, and he realized where the shock is. So they turn the plane around for, I don't know how, it may be like magic, I don't know. So Anton goes to Sork's bar. I don't know what is his name, like Sor's bar. This guy, he has the shock on like a chalkboard, and he uses the way the shock work is that you write things that you want happen. So he writes his name of his son, Anton writes it, and his sons appear outside a diner. And this is really weird. I don't know how the power of the shock, but it's probably super powerful. So he buys his son some food and whatnot, and then Sveta is looking for Anton because he just disappeared without telling her that he was basically wanted for a crime. So Sveta tries to call Anton on his cell phone, but he's not picking up, but his kid picks it up, and that devastates Sveta somehow. And as the kid leaves, he actually put the shock in his pocket, and he's heading right for the baddies right now. So Anton gets chased by the main bad guys, but he managed to escape, and then the crazy car lady uses the shock because she takes it from the boy, and she calls her new vampire boyfriend over. So this is a really weird thing. She's actually somehow connected to the main baddie via a ring on her finger, so she can't take it off, and later in the movie she actually chops it off because she doesn't want to be part of his whatever he's doing. So Anton tries to get to his son, but in order to do that, he actually steals a guy's face with some magic and snow, because that's how magic works. And he managed to get into a hotel where, surprise, surprise, his son's birthday has been held, and there's like a celebration. And due to the whole feud thing, he can't really attack the main baddie because, there's a truce and all, so he gets poisoned and more or less drunk, and he talks to the witch from the first movie, and I thought that was a nice little touch. They tied it all together. Even if you haven't seen the movie, they kind of explained well that he sits there kind of drunk and talks to the witch about how everything turned out and whatnot. And then he takes to stage to sing a bit, and there's some car action happening by the other good guys trying to get into the hotel, but they're like stuck in the lobby. And in this party, like the vampire lover's father, the butcher, confessed to the crimes of everything. So this was all set up by the main baddie, but the main baddie is not happy about it, so actually kills the butcher's son, the love interest for the crazy car lady. And there's like a battle scene between Sveta, and there's some weird magic that the kid uses to drain her blood. He actually did this at the beginning of the movie. I didn't explain that, but he actually sucked like a little, those ones drinks you give to kids with a straw. I don't know why. It's not very effective storytelling. And then, as I said, Sveta and Anton's kid has like a battle, and that results in the war breaking out. So Anton somehow managed to get his hands on the shock, and he goes to the place where it all started and writes something down on the chalkboard. I think it's Russian for like no, because this movie is in Russian. And that actually happened. What actually happens when he does this is everything that up to this point had happened is no more. So there was no need for this movie because he didn't make the choice in the first place. Because in the first movie, he actually chose to, he was miserable piece of guy. He was making this deal with this witch, and in the Nightwatch movie, he actually goes through with the deal, and in the Daywatch movie, which is this one, he doesn't. So it ends up, none of this happened. Nothing bad happened. So he walks out in the street, and the main bad guy and the good guy is like sitting on a bench, like the devil and like God. This is like a black and white kind of situation. And Sveta doesn't know Anton, and Anton doesn't know Sveta, but they go past each other, and the good and the bad guy makes a bet about it, if he remembers or not, then the bad guy loses because, of course, Anton remembers Sveta, even though he's never met her ever. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. So what do I think about this movie, Daywatch? I like the movie. It's a little bit convoluted, and you have to watch the first movie in order to understand most of what's happening in the other movie. And it's kind of this thing that if this movie were like a Hollywood production, they have like millions of like a Star Wars budget, it would have been the most awesome movie ever, I think. But due to it being made in Russia with like a limited budget, and it's not really cutting it. Some of the visual effects are really good. Others are like, oh no, where this crazy car lady kind of rides on the side of the building. That was kind of cool, but when you look at it at a big screen, you see all the faults and the small things. So I like the movie, but I don't think I can recommend it. It's one of those things where the concept of the movie is bigger than the movie itself, like good and bad. There's a like a good premise, good and bad, and there's this truce between them, and they don't want to break the truce, so the main bad guy and the good guys have to go through gritted teeth in order not to basically kill each other, because if they do something more terrible would happen that will destroy the world or something. But yeah, I like the movie, but I can't recommend it. So anyway, thanks for listening and or watching, and take care.